The boy's legs buckled. His arms shook so violently the baby nearly slipped from his grip. 6 years old, barefoot on scorching pavement, 2 days without food, 2 days carrying his dying sister through the Arizona desert. He saw the motorcycle slowing down and screamed with every ounce of strength left in his broken body. "Please don't leave me." His voice shattered the desert silence. "Everybody leaves. Please, mister. She's dying. My sister's dying. I can't hold her anymore." The Harley's engine died. The Hell's Angel sat frozen, staring at the impossible sight before him. Then he got off his bike. Before we continue, please subscribe to follow this incredible story to the end. Comment below which city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Stone Mercer hadn't spoken to another human being in 11 days. That was fine by him. People meant problems. People meant questions he didn't want to answer, about the faded tattoos crawling up his neck, about the scars crossing his knuckles, about the Hell's Angels patch he'd cut from his vest 12 years ago, but could never cut from his soul. The Arizona highway stretched empty ahead of him. His Harley rumbled beneath him like an old friend who'd given up on conversation. The setting sun painted everything gold, but Stone didn't notice. He was too busy arguing with ghosts. "You're a coward," the ghost of his old president whispered in his memory. "You walk away from your brothers for what?" "For strangers." Stone twisted the throttle harder. The bike surged forward. He'd made his choice that night 12 years ago. They'd handed him a gas can and pointed at a house where a young family slept. A mother, a father, 2 kids under 5. "Burn it," Viper had ordered. "They testified against one of ours. Make an example." Stone had looked at that house. He'd seen the tricycle on the porch, the little shoes by the door, and he'd said no. They'd beaten him so badly he'd spent 3 weeks in a hospital. When he got out, everything was gone. His club, his identity, his purpose. Now he was just a ghost himself riding highways that led nowhere. The sun dropped lower. Stone calculated maybe 2 hours until dark. He'd find a spot to camp, same as always. Wake up tomorrow. Ride again. No destination. No reason. Just movement. Then he heard it. At first, Stone thought his engine was misfiring. A high-pitched sound cutting through the rumble. He eased off the throttle, listening. Not the engine. Crying. A child crying. Stone's hands tightened on the grips. Every instinct told him to keep riding. Someone else would help. Someone better suited. Someone who hadn't spent 30 years doing things that would make that child scream louder if he knew. But the crying grew desperate. Raw. The kind of crying that held nothing back because there was nothing left to hold. Stone pulled to the shoulder. Dust swirled around his boots as he planted them on the ground. He cut the engine, and in the sudden silence he saw them. A boy no more than 6 stood 20 feet from the road's edge. His bare feet were blistered and bleeding on the hot pavement. His clothes hung torn and dirty. His face was streaked with dust and tears. But it was what he carried that stopped Stone's heart. A baby. A tiny, motionless bundle, wrapped in a blanket that might have been pink once, but was now brown with dirt. The boy's thin arms shook violently from the weight, but he clutched that baby like his life depended on it. Because it did. Stone swung his leg off the bike. The boy saw him and stumbled backward, terror flooding his face. "Stay away!" the boy shouted, his voice raw. "I got a knife, I'll cut you." Stone stopped. He held up his hands slowly. "Easy, kid. I'm not gonna hurt you." That's what he said too. The boy's whole body trembled. That's what the man at the gas station said. Then he tried to take Lily. I won't let you take her. Stone processed this quickly. Someone had already tried to grab these kids. This boy had been protecting his sister from predators while walking God knows how many miles through the desert. 6 years old. What's your name? Stone kept his voice low, calm. The voice he used to use when approaching frightened dogs in the old days. The boy hesitated. His arms shook harder. The baby in his grip let out a weak, pitiful whimper that barely qualified as a cry. Caleb, the boy finally whispered. And this is Lily. She's my sister. She's only one. Caleb. Stone repeated the name like he was making a promise. I'm Stone. That's my real name. People call me Hawk sometimes, but my mama named me Stone. Now we're not strangers anymore. Caleb's eyes darted between Stone and his motorcycle. You're one of those bad bikers. I seen your kind on TV. You hurt people. I used to. Stone wouldn't lie to this kid. Something told him lies wouldn't work anyway. But I don't anymore, haven't for a long time. Why should I believe you? Stone looked at the baby in Caleb's arms. Even from this distance, he could see she wasn't moving right. Her little head lolled. Her skin looked wrong grayish instead of pink. Because your sister's dying, Caleb, and I think you know it. Caleb's face crumpled. The bravery he'd been holding on to cracked straight down the middle. She won't eat, he choked out. I ran out of formula yesterday. I tried to give her water from a creek, but she threw it up. She's so hot. She was crying all night, but now she won't cry anymore, and that's worse. That's so much worse. Stone took one step forward. Caleb didn't run. Where's your mama, son? The question hit Caleb like a physical blow. His knees buckled. He caught himself at the last moment, still holding Lily, always holding Lily. She won't wake up. His voice broke completely. I tried everything. I shook her and yelled at her and even hit her, and I'm sorry I hit her, but she wouldn't wake up. She was cold. She's been cold for 3 days. Stone's jaw tightened. He understood exactly what that meant. Your daddy. Caleb's eyes went hard. Even at 6, the change was visible fear transforming into hatred in a heartbeat. He's the reason we ran. He hurt Mama. He hurt her bad. She said we had to hide where he couldn't find us. But then she got sick and needed her medicine, and Caleb stopped. His lower lip quivered. I don't know what happened. She just went to sleep and won't wake up. Overdose. Withdrawal. Something. Stone had seen it too many times in the life. Women running from monsters trying to outrun their own demons at the same time. How far have you walked? 2 days. Maybe more. Caleb's arms trembled violently now. Lily's getting heavy. She never used to be heavy. But she's getting heavier and heavier, and I can't. His legs gave out. Stone moved fast. Not fast enough to scare, but fast enough to catch. He reached Caleb just as the boy collapsed, scooping both children into his arms before they hit the pavement. Caleb screamed. He thrashed. His small fists pounded against Stone's chest. No, let us go! You can't have her! Caleb! Stone's voice cut through the panic. Caleb, look at me. Something in his tone pierced through. Caleb stopped fighting. His wild eyes met Stone's. I am not going to hurt you. I am not going to take your sister. I am going to help you. Do you understand? Caleb stared at him, searching, looking for the lie. He didn't find one. Promise. His voice was so small, so young. For a moment all the bravery stripped away, and Stone saw what he really was, a terrified child, who'd been carrying an impossible weight for days. "I promise." Caleb's body went limp against Stone's chest. The fight drained out of him all at once. Exhaustion he'd been holding at bay through sheer will crashed over him like a wave. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Stone shifted Lily into one arm, holding Caleb with the other. The baby was burning up with fever. Her breathing was shallow, her body limp in that terrible way that meant the body was giving up. "She needs a doctor, now." "I know." Caleb's eyes filled with fresh tears. "I tried to walk to town, but I couldn't find it. Everything looks the same out here. I kept walking in circles. I think I walked in circles all day yesterday." Stone's mind raced. The nearest town was Copper Ridge, maybe 15 miles. His bike could cover that in minutes, but with 2 kids... He looked at his Harley, then at Caleb, then at Lily. "Can you hold on tight? I mean, really tight." Caleb nodded fiercely. "I'm strong. I carried Lily for 2 days." "I know you did, buddy. That makes you the strongest person I've ever met." Stone wasn't lying. He'd known men twice this boy's age who couldn't have done what Caleb did. "Now I need you to hold on to me, and I need you to hold on to Lily. Can you do that?" "Yes, sir." "Sir." The word hit Stone somewhere deep. He couldn't remember the last time anyone had called him that. He carried both children to his bike. He sat Caleb in front of him, the boy's small body pressed against the tank. Then he unzipped his leather vest, the one still carrying the shadow of where his patch used to be, and wrapped it around Lily, creating a makeshift carrier against his chest. "You hold on to my belt," he told Caleb. "Both hands. Don't let go no matter what." "I won't." Caleb's small fingers gripped Stone's belt with desperate strength. "I never let go. That's my job." Stone kicked the bike to life. The engine roared, and for the first time in 12 years, Stone Mercer rode toward something instead of away from it. The wind whipped past them. Stone kept his speed controlled, aware of every bump in the road, every shift in weight. Caleb pressed against him, small body rigid with determination. Lily lay still against his chest, too still. "Talk to me, Caleb." Stone raised his voice over the engine. "Tell me about your sister. What about her? Anything. Everything." Caleb was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice carried over the wind with surprising clarity. "She laughs at everything. Even when there's nothing funny, she laughs. Mama said she got that from her daddy. But her daddy wasn't my daddy, and her daddy was nice. He died in a car accident before Lily was born." Stone processed this. Caleb and Lily, same mother, different fathers. The nice father dead. The living father a monster. What else? "She likes my singing. I'm not good at singing, but she doesn't care. She kicks her legs when I sing the Itsy Bitsy Spider." Caleb's voice cracked. "She hasn't kicked her legs since yesterday." Stone felt the baby's forehead through his vest, still burning. "She's gonna kick him again. I promise you that." "You promise a lot." "I keep him too." Caleb was quiet. Then, the man at the gas station promised he'd help. He said he had food and water in his truck. But when I followed him, he tried to grab Lily. He said nobody would miss 2 kids like us. Stone's grip tightened on the handlebars. "What happened? I bit him, hard, on the hand. He screamed and dropped us, and I ran." Caleb's voice carried a hint of savage pride. "I tasted his blood. I didn't care. Nobody takes my sister." Stone felt something shift in his chest. This boy, this 6-year-old boy, he'd faced down a predator with nothing but his teeth and his will. "That was brave, Caleb. Real brave." "I was scared." "Brave doesn't mean you're not scared. Brave means you're scared, but you do it anyway. That's what brave is. Caleb thought about this. Are you brave? Stone almost laughed. He'd been called a lot of things in his life, mostly things he couldn't repeat in front of a child, but brave had never made the list. I used to think so. Now I'm not sure. You stopped for us. Nobody else stopped. Lots of cars drove by. They saw us and drove by. You stopped. Stone didn't have an answer for that. He didn't know why he'd stopped. Instinct, maybe. Or something deeper. Something he'd spent 12 years trying to bury. The lights of Copper Ridge appeared on the horizon. Just a small cluster at first, then growing. Buildings, streets, people. Help. Almost there, buddy. You did it. You got her this far. Caleb's grip on Stone's belt tightened. What's going to happen when we get there? Stone heard the real question underneath. What happens to us? What happens to me and Lily? First, we get Lily to a doctor. That's the only thing that matters right now. Everything else we figure out after. But one thing at a time, Caleb. Your mama ever tell you that... Caleb was quiet for a moment. Yeah, she said that a lot. She was right. One thing at a time. Right now, the one thing is Lily. Focus on that. Stone felt Caleb nod against him. The boy's body relaxed slightly, just slightly, as if having a single, clear purpose helped him hold on. The town grew closer. Stone could make out individual buildings now. A gas station, a church, and there a neon sign glowing against the darkening sky. May's Diner. Open 24 hours. Stone aimed for it. Not a hospital, but there would be people. A phone. Help. He pulled into the parking lot, killing the engine. The sudden silence rang in his ears. Caleb didn't move. His hands stayed locked on Stone's belt. We're here, buddy. You can let go now. I can't. Caleb's voice was barely a whisper. My hands won't open. I told them not to let go, and now they won't. Stone understood. He'd seen this before in combat situations. The body locking into survival mode and refusing to unlock. That's okay. We'll do it together. He carefully pried Caleb's fingers loose one at a time. The boy whimpered, but didn't resist. When his hands finally came free, they were cramped into claws, the muscles frozen. Stone lifted him off the bike and set him on the ground. Caleb's legs wobbled, but held. Can you walk? Caleb nodded, even though it was clearly a lie. He would walk if Stone asked him to crawl. Stone adjusted Lily against his chest. She hadn't made a sound during the whole ride. That terrified him more than anything else. Let's go. He pushed open the diner door. The bell above it jangled. Every head turned. Stone knew what they saw. A massive tattooed biker in dusty leather. A dirty barefoot child. A baby wrapped in what looked like a gang vest. The diner fell completely silent. A woman behind the counter, mid-60s gray hair, pulled back apron stained with the day's work, stared at them. Her hand moved slowly toward something beneath the register. Don't. Stone's voice carried clear and calm. I'm not here for trouble. This baby needs help. She needs help right now. The woman's eyes moved from Stone to Caleb to Lily. Her expression changed. The suspicion didn't disappear, but something else appeared alongside it, concern. What kind of help? She's dehydrated. Fevered. Hasn't eaten since yesterday morning. Their mother... Stone stopped. He looked at Caleb. She passed. 3 days ago. This boy's been carrying his sister through the desert ever since. The woman's hand came up from beneath the counter. Empty. "Jolene," she called out. "Get out here, now!" A door behind the counter burst open. A younger woman, maybe 45, dark hair, kind eyes, rushed out. She took one look at the scene and moved toward Stone without hesitation. "Let me see her." Her voice carried authority. "I was an EMT for 15 years. Let me see the baby." Stone let her take Lily. Jolene unwrapped his vest, checking the baby's vitals with practiced hands. Her face tightened. "She's severely dehydrated, running a fever of at least 103. We need to get fluids in her now." "Do it. May, get me the emergency kit. And call Doc Wilson, tell him we've got a pediatric emergency." Jolene looked at Caleb, really looked at him, and her expression softened. "Hi there, sweetheart. What's your name?" Caleb pressed closer to Stone's leg. He didn't answer. "His name's Caleb," Stone said. "He's had a rough few days. Go easy." Jolene nodded. "Caleb, I'm going to help your sister. I promise. But I need you to sit down, okay? Can you do that for me?" Caleb shook his head violently. "I have to stay with Lily. I have to watch her." "You can watch from right there." Jolene pointed to the nearest booth. "You'll be able to see everything I do. But you need to sit down before you fall down." Caleb looked up at Stone, waiting. Stone understood. This kid had just met him, but he'd already decided Stone was his person, the one he trusted. "It's okay, buddy. I'll be right here. You can sit." Caleb hesitated one more moment. Then his legs gave out. Stone caught him, carried him to the booth, sat him down on the worn vinyl seat. "I'm gonna help Jolene with Lily. You eat something." "I'm not hungry." "I didn't ask if you were hungry. I said eat." Caleb's eyes widened. Nobody had spoken to him like that in days, maybe longer. There was something comforting about it, an adult taking charge, telling him what to do, letting him be a child again. "Okay," he whispered. Stone turned to May. "Get him whatever he wants, whatever he can keep down." May nodded. The suspicion in her eyes had faded considerably. "Chicken soup, best thing for a starved stomach." "And chocolate milk," Caleb said quietly. Then even quieter, "Please." May almost smiled. "Coming right up, sweetheart." Stone moved to where Jolene was working on Lily. The baby lay on the counter so small, she barely took up any space. Jolene had set up a makeshift IV, using supplies from an emergency kit, trying to get fluids into the tiny body. "How bad?" Stone kept his voice low. Jolene didn't sugarcoat it. "Bad. If you'd found them an hour later." She shook her head. "She needs a hospital. Real equipment. Real doctors." "Nearest hospital. Mercy General. 45 minutes. Too long. Doc Wilson's 5 minutes out. He's old, but he's good. If anyone can stabilize her for transport, it's him." Stone looked at Lily's tiny face. Her eyes were closed, her breathing shallow. She looked like a doll, a broken doll. "She's going to make it." He said it like a fact, like saying it would make it true. Jolene looked at him, really looked at him past the tattoos and the leather and the hard shell he wore like armor. "You a praying man," Stone almost laughed. "Haven't been for a long time. Maybe tonight's a good night to start." The door burst open. An elderly man with a black bag rushed in, Doc Wilson Stone assumed. He went straight to Lily, taking over from Jolene with practiced efficiency. "What have we got?" Jolene briefed him quickly. Stone stood back, letting them work, feeling completely useless. He'd faced down rival gangs. He'd survived beatings that should have killed him. But watching this tiny baby fight for her life, that broke something in him he didn't know was still intact. A small hand slipped into his. Stone looked down. Caleb stood beside him, chocolate milk mustache staining his upper lip, soup barely touched on the table behind him. Is she gonna die? Stone should have lied. Should have said something comforting, something soft. But he'd promised this kid he wouldn't lie. I don't know, buddy. But she's fighting, and she's got the best help she can get. Caleb's hand tightened around Stone's fingers. I can't lose her. She's all I got left. Stone crouched down to Caleb's level, eye to eye. Listen to me. You carried that baby for 2 days through the desert. You fought off a grown man who tried to take her. You kept her alive when nobody else was there to help. You're the reason she's got a chance right now. Whatever happens, you need to know that. You did everything right. Everything. Caleb's eyes filled with tears. Then why does it hurt so bad? Stone pulled him into a hug. This boy, this stranger's child, pressed against his chest and sobbed, and Stone held on like the world depended on it. Because you love her. That's what love does. It hurts when the people we love are hurting. Make it stop. Please, make it stop hurting. Stone closed his eyes. He felt 12 years of walls crumbling around him. 12 years of telling himself he was better off alone. 12 years of running from the man he used to be. I can't make it stop, buddy, but I can promise you won't hurt alone. I'm here. I'm right here. The door opened again. Heavy footsteps. Stone looked up. A sheriff stood in the doorway, badge glinting, hand resting on his holster. His eyes moved across the scene, the biker, the child, the baby on the counter, and his expression hardened. What the hell is going on here, so meintin? Sheriff Dale Hartley had been in law enforcement for 32 years. He'd seen plenty in that time. Plenty he wished he could unsee. But this didn't add up. A Hell's Angel former, maybe. But once a brother, always a brother, in Dale's experience holding a crying child in a diner while a baby got worked on by the town doctor. I asked a question. He stepped further into the diner, letting the door swing shut behind him. Someone better start talking. The biker stood slowly, keeping the boy behind him. Protective. That was interesting. Found these kids on Highway 17, about 15 miles east. The boy was carrying the baby walking through the desert. Their mother's dead. Been dead for 3 days. Dale's eyes narrowed. That's so. And you just happened to find them. I stopped when I heard crying. Anyone with ears would have done the same. Uh-huh. Dale moved closer. Mind telling me your name? Stone Mercer. Dale filed that away. He'd be running that name the second he got back to his car. And the kids? What are their names? The boy stepped out from behind the biker's legs. His face was dirty. His feet were raw, but his eyes, those eyes held more fire than Dale had seen in most adults. I'm Caleb. That's my sister Lily. She's sick because we walked too far, and I couldn't find help fast enough. He found us. Caleb pointed at Stone. He saved us. He's not a bad guy. Dale studied the boy. 6 years old, maybe 7. Standing up for a biker with tattoos and a rap sheet that probably stretched back decades. Son, do you know who this man is? What he's been involved in? Caleb's jaw set. He's the only one who stopped. Lots of cars drove by and nobody stopped. He did. That hit Dale somewhere he didn't expect. He looked at Stone, really looked at him. The man wasn't tense in the way guilty people got tense. He was watchful, sure, but not ready to run. That baby's mother, Dale said carefully. You said she's dead. I said she's been dead for 3 days. I don't know where. The boy found her unresponsive and couldn't wake her. He's been walking with his sister ever since. Walking where? Anywhere, everywhere, looking for help. Dale pulled out his radio. I'm gonna need to call this in. Get CPS involved. These kids... Caleb's reaction was instantaneous. He grabbed Stone's leg and held on like his life depended on it. No CPS. They'll take her away from me. They always separate brothers and sisters, Mama told me. She said never let them take Lily because they'll put us in different houses and I'll never see her again. Dale stopped. He'd seen this before, too. Kids who'd been through the system, or whose parents had warned them about it. Sometimes those warnings were paranoid nonsense. Sometimes they were tragically accurate. Caleb, I won't let you take her. Caleb's voice rose to a scream. I'll bite you too. I'll bite everyone. Doc Wilson looked up from his work on Lily. Sheriff, whatever you're planning, it can wait. This baby needs a hospital and she needs it now. We can sort out custody and paperwork after she's stable. Dale hesitated. Stone stepped forward. He's right. The girl first, everything else after. You don't get to tell me. I'm not telling you anything. Stone's voice stayed level. I'm asking you, one human being to another. Let us get this baby to a hospital. Then you can arrest me, question me, do whatever you need to do. But not until she's safe. Please. Please. That word coming from a man like this carried weight. Dale looked at Caleb still clinging to Stone's leg. Looked at Lily so tiny and still on the counter. Looked at Stone standing steady with his hands visible and his eyes clear. Mercy General's 45 minutes. I'll escort you. Stone nodded once. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Dale's voice hardened. I'm gonna run your name. I'm gonna find out exactly who you are and what you've done. And if I find out you had anything to do with what happened to these kids' mother, you won't, because I didn't. I found them an hour ago. That's the truth. Dale held his gaze for a long moment. Then he turned toward the door. Jolene, can that baby travel? Jolene looked at Doc Wilson. The old man nodded slowly. If we keep the IV going and move carefully, but we need to move now. Dale pulled out his keys. My car's outside. It'll be smoother than a motorcycle. Jolene, you ride with the baby. Keep her stable. What about me? Caleb's voice was small. Stone crouched down again. You're coming with us. I promised I wouldn't leave you, and I meant it. But the sheriff's helping us. He's gonna get Lily to the hospital. That's what matters right now, remember? One thing at a time. Caleb swallowed hard. His eyes flicked to Dale, then back to Stone. You'll stay with me. Right beside you. The whole way. Caleb let go of Stone's leg. He stood up straight, trying to look brave, even though his whole body shook. Okay. Let's go save my sister. The sheriff's cruiser cut through the darkness, lights flashing, but siren silent. Jolene sat in the back, cradling Lily against her chest, the IV bag held high to keep the fluids flowing. Caleb sat between Jolene and Stone, his small hand wrapped around two of Stone's fingers. He hadn't let go since they got in the car. Talk to me, Caleb. Stone kept his voice low. Tell me about your mama. Caleb was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. She was pretty. Real pretty. She had hair like lilies, dark and curly. She used to sing at night when she thought I was asleep. What did she sing? You Are My Sunshine. That was her favorite. Caleb's voice cracked. She called me her sunshine, said I was the only good thing that ever happened to her. Stone's chest tightened. She sounds like a good mama. She tried to be, but she was sick. Not like a cold sick, a different kind. She needed medicine, but the medicine made her sleepy. And sometimes she got more medicine from bad people because the doctor medicine cost too much. Stone understood. He'd seen it countless times. Good people trapped in terrible cycles trying to escape but unable to break free. That's not her fault, Caleb. You know that, right? The sickness. It's not something she chose. I know. Caleb's fingers tightened around Stone's. But I still miss her. I want her to wake up. I keep thinking maybe the doctors here can wake her up. Stone didn't say anything. Some truths were too heavy for a child to carry. Caleb would understand eventually, but not tonight. What about your daddy? The mean one. Caleb's whole body went rigid. He's not my daddy. He's Mama's boyfriend. He wanted to be my daddy, but I said no. I said my real daddy's dead, and I don't want another one. What happened to your real daddy? He went to heaven when I was 3. Mama showed me pictures. He had big arms like you. He used to carry me on his shoulders. And Caleb looked up at Stone. Do you think he's watching from heaven? Stone thought about heaven. He'd never believed in much of anything. The club had been his religion, the road his church. But looking at this boy's hopeful face, he found himself wanting to believe. Yeah, buddy. I think he's watching, and I think he's real proud of you. Caleb managed a small smile. The first Stone had seen from him. The boyfriend, Mama's boyfriend, he hit her. A lot. He said if she ever left, he'd find her. He said he'd take Lily because Lily wasn't his and he could sell her. Stone's blood ran cold. Sell her? That's what he said, to people who pay money for babies. Mama was so scared. That's why we ran. She said we had to disappear. Dale's eyes appeared in the rearview mirror. He'd been listening. His expression was stone. The boyfriend got a name kid. Caleb flinched. Marcus Webb. But Mama said never to say his name. She said if I said his name, he'd find us. He's not gonna find you. Dale's voice carried iron certainty. Not while I'm around. Stone looked at the sheriff. Something had shifted in the man's demeanor. The suspicion was still there, but it had redirected. Focused on a new target. She's stabilizing. Jolene's voice cut through the tension. Fluids are helping. Her color's coming back. Caleb twisted around to look at his sister. Lily, can you hear me? It's Caleb. I got you help. You're gonna be okay. Lily's tiny hand moved. Just a flutter, but it was there. She heard me. Caleb's face lit up. She moved. Did you see? Stone saw, and he felt something crack open in his chest, something that had been locked tight for 12 years. I saw Buddy. She heard you. The hospital lights appeared ahead, glowing like a beacon in the darkness. We're here, Dale announced, pulling into the emergency bay. Everyone hold on. Nurses rushed out before the car fully stopped. Jolene passed Lily to them, rattling off vitals and status updates. The medical team swept the baby inside a blur of blue scrubs and urgent voices. Caleb tried to follow. Stone caught him. Let them work, buddy. They're gonna take care of her. But I need to be with her, I promised. And you will be. But right now she needs doctors more than she needs you. You got her here. You did your job. Let them do theirs. Caleb struggled for a moment longer, then collapsed against Stone's chest, sobbing. I'm scared. I'm so scared. What if she dies? What if I lose her too? Stone held him tight. He didn't have words for this. Didn't have comfort that wasn't a lie. So he just held on and let Caleb cry. Dale stood a few feet away, watching. His hand wasn't on his holster anymore. You did good tonight, he said quietly to Stone. Stone looked up, surprised. Doesn't change what I'm gonna find when I run your name. Doesn't mean we're friends. But tonight you did good. Before Stone could respond, a nurse approached. Are you family? Caleb pulled back from Stone's chest. Tears streamed down his face, but his voice was steady. I'm her brother, Caleb. She's my sister Lily, and I'm supposed to take care of her because that's what I promised Mama. The nurse's expression softened. "We're taking good care of her, Caleb. The doctor wants to talk to whoever's responsible for you." Caleb looked at Stone. Then, before anyone could stop him, he grabbed Stone's hand again. "Him. He's responsible for me." The nurse looked at Stone, the tattoos, the leather, the scarred knuckles. Stone looked at Caleb, the dirty face, the desperate eyes, the small hand clutching his like a lifeline. And without thinking, without planning, without understanding what he was doing or why, Stone nodded. "Yeah, I'm responsible for him." The words hung in the air like smoke. "Yeah, I'm responsible for him." Stone didn't know why he'd said it, didn't know what it meant, or what it would cost. But Caleb's hand tightened around his fingers, and that was enough. The nurse looked at Dale. Dale looked at Stone. Nobody spoke for a long moment. "Follow me," the nurse finally said. "Doctor needs to update you on the baby's condition." They walked through antiseptic hallways, Caleb pressed against Stone's side. The boy's bare feet slapped against cold tile, leaving dirty prints behind. Stone made a mental note: shoes. The kid needed shoes. The pediatric ICU was small. 2 beds, both empty except for one. Lily lay in a clear bassinet, wires and tubes connecting her tiny body to machines that beeped and hummed. She looked even smaller here, surrounded by all this technology designed to keep her alive. Caleb pressed his face against the glass. "Why she got all those things on her? They're helping her buddy, making sure she gets what she needs." A doctor approached, young, tired, but with kind eyes. "I'm Dr. Chen. You're with the baby." "Lily," Caleb said fiercely. "Her name is Lily." Dr. Chen nodded, adjusting her approach. "You're with Lily. Are you her brother?" "Yes, ma'am. I'm Caleb. I'm 6. I carried her here." Something flickered across the doctor's face. "You carried her from where?" "The desert. 2 days, maybe more. I lost count." Dr. Chen looked at Stone. He could see the questions forming, the suspicions rising. He'd deal with that later. "How is she?" "Severely dehydrated, malnourished. She's running a fever from what looks like a respiratory infection, probably from exposure. Her electrolytes were critically low when she came in." Dr. Chen paused. "Honestly, another few hours and we'd be having a very different conversation." Caleb's whole body trembled. "But she's gonna be okay. She's not gonna die." Dr. Chen crouched down to his level. "Your sister is a fighter, Caleb. And so are you. We're going to do everything we can for her." "That's not yes." The doctor hesitated. Stone recognized that hesitation, the one that came before bad news got dressed up in careful words. "Say it straight," Stone said quietly. "He deserves that." Dr. Chen took a breath. "The next 24 hours are critical. If she responds to treatment, her chances are very good. If she doesn't..." She let the sentence hang. Caleb turned away from the glass. His face had gone pale beneath the dirt. "Can I touch her? Can I hold her hand?" "Not yet, sweetheart. She needs to stay in the sterile environment. But you can talk to her. She can hear you." Caleb pressed both palms against the glass. "Hey, Lily. It's me. It's Caleb. I'm right here." "I didn't leave you. I promised I wouldn't leave and I didn't." Stone's throat tightened. He turned away, blinking hard. Dale stood in the doorway, phone pressed to his ear. His expression had changed, darker now, more complicated. He caught Stone's eye and jerked his head toward the hallway. Stone touched Caleb's shoulder. "Stay here, buddy. Talk to your sister. I'll be right outside." Caleb nodded without looking away from Lily. Don't go far." "I won't." Stone stepped into the hallway. Dale was waiting, arms crossed, phone back in his pocket. "Ran your name." "I figured. Stone Mercer, born 1969. Member of the Hells Angels Arizona chapter from 1989 to 2013. Multiple arrests, assault, illegal weapons intimidation. Did 18 months in county for beating a man half to death outside a bar in Flagstaff." Dale's voice was flat. "Then you dropped off the radar. 12 years. Nothing. It's like you died." "I did, in a way." "What happened?" Stone leaned against the wall. He was tired. Bone tired. The kind of tired that sleep couldn't fix. "They gave me an order I couldn't follow. I walked away. They made sure I understood the cost." "What kind of order?" Stone met the sheriff's eyes. "The kind that would have put children in the ground." Dale studied him for a long moment. Stone let him look. He had nothing to hide anymore, nothing that mattered anyway. "Why'd you stop tonight?" "I don't know." "Try harder." Stone thought about it. Really thought for the first time since he'd heard that crying on the highway. "I've been running for 12 years, Sheriff. Running from what I was, what I did, what I almost became. Tonight I heard a kid screaming for help, and I thought maybe I'm tired of running. Maybe it's time to stop." "Pretty words. You rehearse them." "No, I just figured out what they meant." A commotion down the hallway cut off whatever Dale was going to say next. Two women in professional clothes were marching toward them, clipboards in hand, expressions grim. "Child Protective Services," Dale muttered. That was fast. The lead woman, 50s gray suit hair pulled back so tight it looked painful, stopped in front of them. "Sheriff Hartley, I'm Margaret Thornton, CPS supervisor. We received a report about 2 abandoned children." "Not abandoned," Stone said immediately. "Their mother died. The boy's been taking care of his sister ever since." Thornton looked at him like he was something stuck to her shoe. "And you are Stone Mercer. The man who found them, the man who's responsible for them." Thornton's eyebrows rose. "Responsible? Are you a relative?" "No." "Foster parent?" "No." "Then in what capacity are you claiming responsibility?" Stone felt his jaw tighten. "In the capacity of a human being who found 2 kids dying in the desert and didn't drive past." Thornton's expression didn't change. "I appreciate your good Samaritan instincts, Mr. Mercer, but these children are now wards of the state. We'll need to conduct assessments, arrange temporary placement. Together." Thornton blinked. "Excuse me." "They stay together. The boy and the girl. You don't separate them. Mr. Mercer, placement decisions are made based on available resources and the best interests of the children. The best interest of that boy is staying with his sister. He's been protecting her for 3 days. He fought off a man who tried to grab her. He walked through the desert carrying her until his feet bled. You separate them, you'll destroy him." Thornton's lips pressed into a thin line. "I understand this is emotional for you, but it's not emotional. It's fact. You put that boy in one place and his sister in another, he'll run. Guaranteed. He'll find a way out and he'll go looking for her, and next time nobody might stop to help." Dale shifted his weight. "He's got a point, Margaret. Sheriff, I don't tell you how to enforce the law, and I don't tell you how to do your job, but I've been watching this kid for the past 2 hours. He's bonded to that baby like nothing I've ever seen. Separating them would be cruel." And Thornton's colleague, younger, less hardened, spoke up quietly. "We do have the Henderson placement available. They're licensed for siblings." Thornton shot her a look. The younger woman didn't back down. "They're good people, Margaret, and they've been asking for a sibling pair." Before Thornton could respond, a scream split the air. Stone was moving before he knew it, pushing past the SEEP's workers running toward the sound. He burst through the pediatric ICU doors and found Caleb backed into a corner, a male nurse trying to approach him. "Don't touch me, where's Stone? Stone? I'm here." Stone pushed past the nurse. "I'm right here, buddy. What happened?" Caleb launched himself at Stone, wrapping his arms around the man's waist. "They tried to take me. They said I had to go with them. They said they were going to put me somewhere." The nurse held up his hands. "I was just trying to explain that visiting hours..." "He's 6. Stone's voice cut like a blade. His mother just died. His sister's in critical condition. And you thought the best approach was to tell him he had to leave? The nurse's face reddened. "Hospital policy is about to change." Dr. Chen appeared in the doorway, her expression thunderous. "Marcus, what part of traumatized child did you not understand from the briefing? I didn't..." "Go. I'll handle this." The nurse retreated. Dr. Chen approached, carefully keeping her distance from Caleb. "Hey there. I'm sorry about that. He shouldn't have scared you." Caleb didn't respond. His face was buried against Stone's stomach, his body shaking. "Can I stay?" The words came out muffled. "Please, can I stay with Lily?" Dr. Chen looked at Stone, then at the CPS workers hovering in the doorway, then back at Caleb. "Tell you what, how about we find you a bed right here next to your sister's room? That way you can see her through the window whenever you want." Caleb lifted his head. "Really?" "Really. And you?" She pointed at Stone. "You're staying too. That couch in the waiting room folds out. It's not comfortable, but it's here." Thornton stepped forward. "Dr. Chen, I need to interview these children and begin the placement process. Not tonight." "Excuse me. These children have been through severe trauma. That boy hasn't slept in at least 3 days. The baby is fighting for her life. Whatever interviews and paperwork you need can wait until morning. I have protocols, and I have patients. My patients come first. If you have a problem with that, take it up with the hospital administrator. Her name's on the door at the end of the hall." Thornton's jaw worked. Stone could see her calculating push now and risk a scene or retreat and regroup. She chose retreat. "Fine. First thing tomorrow morning. After breakfast, and after Dr. Chen clears them." Stone's voice left no room for argument. "You want to talk to Caleb? You go through me first." "You have no legal standing here, Mr. Mercer." "I have standing because that boy trusts me. Right now, I might be the only person in the world he trusts. You want his cooperation, you work with me." Thornton stared at him. Stone stared back. "Tomorrow," she finally said, and turned on her heel. After they left, the room felt lighter. Caleb's grip on Stone loosened slightly. "I don't like her." "Me neither, buddy. She wants to take me away from Lily. She wants to do her job. I'm not going to let her do it wrong." Caleb looked up. "How do you know what's wrong?" Stone crouched down again. It was becoming a habit getting on this kid's level, meeting his eyes. "Because I was in the system, Caleb, when I was your age. My mom died too, and they put me in a home, and it wasn't good. I learned real fast that the only person who was going to look out for me was me." He paused. "But you've got something I didn't have." "What? Me? I'm going to look out for you." Caleb's eyes searched his face. "Why? Because you asked me not to leave, and nobody ever asked me that before." A small hand reached up and touched Stone's cheek. The gesture was so unexpected, so tender, that Stone felt his breath catch. "You're not a bad guy," Caleb said softly. "I know everybody thinks you are because of your pictures." He pointed at Stone's tattoos. "But you're not. Bad guys don't stop. Bad guys don't help. You stopped. You helped." Stone couldn't speak. Something was breaking open inside him, something he'd kept locked away for so long he'd forgotten it existed. "Come on. Dr. Chen said gently. Let's get you both settled. Long night ahead. They set up a bed for Caleb next to the window that looked into Lily's room. The boy insisted on facing the glass so he could watch his sister sleep. Stone sat in a chair beside him, close enough to touch. You should sleep, Stone said. I can't. Try. What if she needs me? What if something happens and I'm asleep? Then I'll wake you. I promise. Caleb was quiet for a moment. Will you still be here when I wake up? I'll be right here. Same chair. Same spot. You won't leave. I won't leave. Caleb's eyes drifted to the window. Lily lay motionless under the lights, tiny chest rising and falling with each breath the machines helped her take. Stone. Yeah, buddy. What if I'm not strong enough? What if I can't protect her forever? Stone reached over and took Caleb's hand. The boy's fingers were so small against his scarred knuckles. Then we'll protect her together. How's that sound? Caleb didn't answer, but his grip tightened, and within minutes his breathing evened out. Stone sat in the darkness watching both children through the glass, one sleeping beside him, one fighting for her life beyond the window. For the first time in 12 years, he didn't want to run. Jolene arrived at 6 in the morning with coffee and a paper bag full of pastries. Stone hadn't slept. Couldn't sleep. Every time he'd started to drift off, some machine would beep, or some nurse would walk by, and he'd snap back to full alert. Caleb was still out curled into a tight ball with his face toward the window. He hadn't moved all night. You look terrible, Jolene said, handing Stone a cup. Feel worse. How's the baby? Stable. Doc Chen says if she makes it through the morning, her chances go way up. Jolene nodded. She sat down in the chair across from Stone, her eyes moving to Caleb's sleeping form. He's something else, that one. He's been through more in a week than most people face in a lifetime. And you, Jolene studied him over the rim of her coffee. What's your story? Stone almost laughed. You don't want to know my story. I asked, didn't I? He looked at her, really looked. Mid-40s, lines around her eyes that spoke of laughter and tears in equal measure. Hands that had worked hard all their life. A woman who'd seen things, done things, survived things. Used to be Hell's Angels. 24 years. Did things I can't take back. Then I walked away and I've been walking ever since. Why'd you walk away? They wanted me to burn down a house with a family inside. I said no. Jolene didn't flinch, didn't gasp, just nodded slowly. That cost you. Everything I had. And now, Stone looked at Caleb. Now I'm sitting in a hospital watching over a kid I met 8 hours ago because he asked me not to leave. Jolene smiled. It transformed her face, made her look younger somehow. Funny how life works, isn't it? The things we run from the things that find us. Before Stone could respond, Caleb stirred. His eyes opened immediately, fixing on the window. Lily, still there, buddy, still fighting. Caleb sat up, rubbing his eyes. He noticed Jolene and tensed. It's okay, Stone said quickly. This is Jolene. She helped us last night at the diner. She's a friend. Caleb relaxed slightly. Hi. Hi yourself? Jolene pulled a muffin from her bag. Hungry. Caleb's stomach answered before he could. A loud growl that made his face turn red. Jolene laughed and handed him the muffin. Thought so? While Caleb ate, Dr. Chen came by with an update. Lily's vitals had improved overnight. She was responding to antibiotics. They were cautiously optimistic. Can I see her now? Caleb asked, crumbs falling from his mouth. Can I hold her hand? Let me check with the nurses. If her counts are good, maybe we can arrange a short visit. Caleb's whole face lit up. Stone felt something warm spread through his chest. Then Thornton walked in, and the warmth vanished. Good morning. Her voice was clipped professional. I trust everyone slept well. Nobody responded. Thornton consulted her clipboard. I've completed my preliminary assessment. We've located a suitable placement for the children. Together, Stone interrupted. Thornton's jaw tightened. Separately. No. Mr. Mercer, I've explained, and I've explained back. They stay together, or this gets complicated. Is that a threat? It's a fact. That boy will run. He'll find a way out of wherever you put him, and he'll go looking for his sister. You want that on your conscience? What I want is irrelevant. Policy dictates, hang your policy. Stone stood up, and despite herself, Thornton took a step back. I've seen what the system does to kids. I've lived it. You put Caleb in some group home and Lily with strangers, you're not saving them, you're breaking them. And what's your alternative, Mr. Mercer? Thornton laughed, but there was no humor in it. A former gang member with a violent criminal history. You think any judge in this state would place children with you? Then find something better. A family that takes both of them. Together. Resources are limited. Then expand them. Thornton's face reddened. You have no idea how the system works. I know exactly how it works. I aged out of it. Spent my 18th birthday in a group home with 14 other kids and 2 staff members who didn't give a damn whether we lived or died. I know what happens to kids who fall through the cracks, and I'm not letting it happen to them. The room had gone very quiet. Caleb sat frozen on his bed muffin, forgotten. Jolene watched with sharp eyes. Even the machines seemed to hum more softly. Thornton opened her mouth to respond when a new voice cut in. Is there a problem here? Everyone turned. A man stood in the doorway, tall black, wearing a pastor's collar and a gentle expression that somehow carried authority. Pastor Wade? Thornton's voice shifted, became more measured. I didn't expect to see you here. I heard we had children in need. Thought I'd offer my assistance. He stepped into the room, his eyes taking in the scene, Thornton bristling, Stone defensive, Caleb terrified. Margaret, might I have a word? The two stepped into the hallway. Stone watched through the window as they spoke, Thornton's gestures becoming increasingly agitated, while the pastor remained calm. Who's that? Caleb whispered. Pastor Marcus Wade, Jolene answered. Runs the church in town. Good man. He's helped a lot of people. Is he going to help us? Jolene looked at Stone. I think he already is. The pastor returned alone. Thornton was nowhere in sight. Mr. Mercer, I'm Marcus Wade. He extended his hand. Stone shook it cautiously. I've convinced Margaret to give us some time. No placements today. How? I reminded her that the church has emergency custody provisions, and that I'm personally prepared to invoke them. Stone stared at him. Why would you do that? You don't know us. I know what I see. Marcus looked at Caleb, then at the window where Lily lay sleeping. I see a child who's been through hell. I see a man who stopped when everyone else drove by. That's enough for now. And later, Marcus smiled. Later we figure out the rest. One day at a time. Caleb slipped off his bed and approached the pastor carefully. Are you going to help us stay together? Me and Lily. Marcus crouched down the same way Stone had been doing, getting on the boy's level. I'm going to try my very best, Caleb. Can I ask you something? Caleb nodded. Do you trust this man? He gestured toward Stone. Caleb didn't hesitate. Yes. Why? Because he stopped. Because he stayed. Because he promised he wouldn't leave, and he didn't. Marcus looked at Stone. Something passed between them, an understanding, a recognition. That's a good reason. He stood up. Mr. Mercer, I think you and I should talk. Jolene, would you mind staying with Caleb? Of course. Stone followed the pastor into the hallway. They walked until they found a quiet corner away from nurses and machines and listening ears. I ran your background, Marcus said without preamble. Sheriff Hartley shared it with me. I figured. Hell's Angels, 24 years. Assault charges, weapons possession, witness intimidation. Then you disappear for 12 years. Marcus paused. What happened? Stone told him. The house, the family, the order he couldn't follow, the beating that should have killed him. Marcus listened without interrupting. When Stone finished, the pastor was quiet for a long moment. I used to be an addict, he finally said. Crack cocaine, lost my wife, my kids, my church. Spent 3 years on the street, another 2 in prison. Everyone wrote me off. Everyone said I was beyond saving. What changed? Someone stopped for me. Like you stopped for those kids. A man I'd never met found me dying in an alley and carried me to a hospital. Stayed with me through detox. Helped me find my way back. Marcus smiled. That man is the reason I wear this collar today. The reason I believe in redemption. Stone felt something shift inside him. What are you saying? I'm saying I know what it's like to be judged for your past, and I know what it's like when someone gives you a chance anyway. Marcus met his eyes. Those children need stability, Mr. Mercer. They need someone who won't leave. Can you be that person? I don't know. I've never been that person for anyone. Maybe it's time to learn. A sound made them both turn. Caleb stood at the end of the hallway, Jolene behind him, looking apologetic. He wouldn't stay, she said. Got worried when he couldn't see you. Caleb ran to Stone, grabbing his hand. You said you wouldn't leave. I didn't leave, buddy. I'm right here. But you walked away. I couldn't see you. Stone crouched down. I'm sorry. I should have told you where I was going. I won't do that again. Caleb's grip tightened. Promise. I promise. Dr. Chen appeared at the other end of the hall, her face breaking into a smile. Caleb, would you like to see your sister? Her numbers are good. You can visit. Caleb's whole body transformed. The fear vanished, replaced by pure joy. Really? I can see her. I can touch her. Gently. But yes. Caleb looked at Stone. Will you come with me? Wouldn't miss it. They walked to Lily's room together. Dr. Chen helped them gown up masks, gloves, the whole routine. Caleb followed every instruction perfectly, his face serious with concentration. Then the door opened, and Caleb stepped inside. Lily lay in her bassinet, still connected to wires and tubes, but different now. Her color was better. Her breathing was stronger. And when Caleb approached, her eyes opened. Hey, Lily. Caleb's voice cracked. It's me. It's Caleb. I told you I'd find help. I told you. He reached out with one trembling hand and touched her tiny fingers. Lily's hand closed around his. Caleb broke. Tears streamed down his face as he stood there connected to his sister by touch for the first time in days. I got you, he whispered. I got you, Lily. I'm not going to let anything bad happen to you. I promise. I promise. Stone watched from the doorway. His own eyes burned, his throat closed. Marcus stood beside him, silent witness. That, the pastor said quietly, is what love looks like. Stone couldn't respond, couldn't find words for what he was feeling. But somewhere in the darkness of his broken heart, something new was taking root. Something that felt like hope. 3 days changed everything. Lily's fever broke on the second morning. By the third day, she was crying for food instead of lying silent. Dr. Chen called it a miracle. Stone called it stubbornness, the same stubbornness he saw in Caleb every time the boy refused to leave his sister's side. But miracles came with paperwork, and paperwork brought Margaret Thornton back. "We need to discuss permanent placement." She stood in the hospital hallway, clipboard pressed against her chest like armor. "The children can't stay here indefinitely." Stone had been expecting this, dreading it. "What are the options?" "I've located a foster family willing to take Lily. The Hendersons. Good people. They've fostered infants before." And Caleb, Thornton's pause told him everything. Caleb's situation is more complicated. He's older. He has documented behavioral issues from his previous school, fighting defiance, emotional outbursts. Most families aren't equipped. He's 6. He watched his mother die and walked through a desert carrying his baby sister. Those aren't behavioral issues. That's trauma. "I understand that, Mr. Mercer, but understanding doesn't create foster beds." Thornton's voice softened slightly, the first crack Stone had seen in her professional facade. "I'm not the enemy here. I'm working with limited resources and too many children who need help." Stone forced himself to take a breath. "So, what happens to him?" "There's a group facility in Phoenix. They specialize in children with Caleb's profile. It's not ideal, but Phoenix is 4 hours away." "I'm aware. You're putting a 4-hour drive between a 6-year-old and his baby sister." "Mr. Mercer, he'll run, I told you that. First chance he gets, he'll disappear, and next time there won't be anyone to find him." Thornton's jaw tightened. "What would you have me do? Create a foster family out of thin air? Give me time. Pastor Wade is working on alternatives." "Time is something these children don't have. The hospital needs this bed. The court requires placement within 72 hours of parental death being confirmed. We've already stretched that to 5 days. Stone's hands clenched at his sides. He could feel the old anger rising, the fury that had gotten him through decades of violence that had nearly destroyed him before he walked away. "1 more day." "I can't. 1 more day. Marcus is meeting with a family tonight. If they agree, you get your placement. Both kids together. If they don't..." Stone forced the words out. "Then we do it your way." Thornton studied him. "Why do you care so much? These aren't your children." "No, they're not." Stone met her eyes. "But somebody should care. Somebody should fight for them. And right now, I'm the only somebody they've got." Something shifted in Thornton's expression. Not sympathy exactly, but something close. 24 hours. That's all I can give you. It's enough." She turned to leave, then stopped. "Mr. Mercer, for what it's worth, I hope Pastor Wade finds something. Those children deserve better than what the system usually provides." Stone watched her walk away. 24 hours. 1 day to change 2 lives. He found Caleb in Lily's room, sitting in the chair that had become his permanent spot. The boy held a picture book one of the nurses had given him, reading aloud, even though Lily was too young to understand the words. And the little engine said, I think I can. Caleb looked up as Stone entered. "This is a dumb story. Trains can't talk." Sometimes stories aren't about being real. They're about being true. Caleb frowned. "That doesn't make sense." "It will someday." Stone sat down on the edge of Lily's bed. The baby was awake, her dark eyes following his movements. She'd started doing that yesterday, tracking people responding, coming back to life. What did the mean lady want? Stone hesitated. He'd promised not to lie to this kid. "She wants to find you a place to live." Both of us together. She's trying. Caleb's face darkened. He'd learned to read adults, Stone realized. 6 years old, and already fluent in the language of half-truths and false comfort. She wants to split us up, doesn't she? She says it's hard to find a family that takes siblings. Then I'll make it easy. I won't go. I'll stay here. Buddy, I mean it. Caleb's voice rose. I'm not leaving Lily. I don't care what they say or where they want to put me. I'll run away. I'll come back for her. They can't stop me. Caleb, I did it before. The boy was shouting now, tears streaming down his face. I walked for 2 days. I can do it again. I'll always find her. Always. Stone crossed the room and pulled Caleb into his arms. The boy struggled for a moment, then collapsed against him, sobbing. I know you will, buddy. I know. That's what makes you the bravest person I've ever met. I don't want to be brave. I want to stay with Lily. I want... Caleb's voice broke. I want my mom back. I want everything to be normal again. Stone held him tighter. He didn't have words for this. Didn't have comfort that wasn't a lie. So he just held on. Listen to me. He pulled back enough to look into Caleb's eyes. Pastor Wade is working on something. A family that might take both of you. Together. Really. Really. But I need you to do something for me. Caleb wiped his nose on his sleeve. What? I need you to trust me. Just for one more day. Can you do that? The boy searched Stone's face, looking for the lie, the betrayal, the disappointment he'd learned to expect from adults. He didn't find it. Okay, one more day. Stone ruffled his hair. That's my guy. Lily made a sound somewhere between a coo and a cry. Both of them turned to look at her. She was reaching up tiny hands, grasping at the air. She wants you, Stone said. Caleb moved to the bassinet, carefully taking his sister's hand. Lily's fingers wrapped around his, and she smiled a real smile, the first one Stone had seen from her. See? Caleb whispered. She knows me. She always knows me. Stone's phone buzzed. A text from Marcus' meeting went well. Come to the church. Bring Caleb. Hope flared in Stone's chest. He tamped it down. He'd learned long ago that hope was just disappointment waiting to happen. But maybe this time would be different. The church was small and old, but clean. Stone had never spent much time in churches. They'd always felt like places for better people, people who deserved forgiveness instead of just needing it. Marcus met them at the door. His expression was careful, measured. They're inside, waiting to meet you. Who are they? Tom and Sarah Mitchell. They've been fostering for 15 years. 2 biological children grown now. They specifically asked about sibling placements after I described the situation. Stone looked down at Caleb, who was pressed against his leg. You ready to meet some people, buddy? Caleb shook his head. What if they don't like me? Then they're idiots. Marcus coughed. Perhaps we could phrase that differently for the church setting. Stone almost smiled. Fine. What if they don't like me? Then we keep looking. They walked inside. A couple sat in the front pew, mid-50s, comfortable clothes, kind faces. They stood as Stone approached. Mr. Mercer. The man extended his hand. I'm Tom Mitchell. This is my wife, Sarah. Stone shook it. Call me Stone. Sarah crouched down to Caleb's level. And you must be Caleb. Pastor Wade told us all about you. Caleb pressed harder against Stone's leg. What did he tell you? That you're the bravest boy he's ever met. That you carried your baby sister through the desert to save her life. Caleb was quiet for a moment. She's not a baby. She's 1 year old. That's a toddler, almost. Sarah smiled. You're absolutely right. I stand corrected. Caleb, Marcus said gently, why don't you tell Tom and Sarah about Lily? They'd like to hear about her from you. The boy looked up at Stone. Permission. Trust. Stone nodded. Caleb stepped away from Stone's leg just slightly and faced the Mitchells. She likes to be held on the left side, not the right. She gets fussy on the right. His voice was small but steady. She doesn't like loud noises because our old house was loud all the time and it scared her. She likes it when I sing, even though I'm not good at singing, and she kicks her legs when she's happy. Sarah's eyes glistened. She sounds wonderful, Caleb. She is. She's the best baby in the whole world. Caleb's chin lifted. And I'm not leaving her. Not ever. So if you want her, you have to take me too. That's the rule. Tom and Sarah exchanged a look. Something passed between them, a whole conversation in a single glance. Caleb, Tom said, his voice gentle but serious. We don't want Lily without you. We want both of you. That's why we're here. Caleb's eyes widened. Both of us together. Together, if you'll have us. The boy stood frozen. Stone could see him processing, trying to find the catch, the trick, the part where it all fell apart. You don't even know us. No, Sarah agreed. But we'd like to, if you're willing to give us a chance. I don't... Caleb turned to Stone, confusion and hope warring on his face. Stone, what do I do? Stone crouched down. What do you want to do? I don't know, I'm scared. Of what? Of everything. Caleb's voice dropped to a whisper. What if they're like Marcus? What if they hurt us? What if they change their minds? Stone's blood ran cold. Marcus, your mom's boyfriend. Caleb nodded. He was nice at first. Real nice. Then he wasn't. Stone looked at the Mitchells. They'd heard. Sarah's face had gone pale. Tom's jaw was tight. Caleb, Stone said carefully, can I tell you something about these people? They've been fostering kids for 15 years. That's almost 3 times longer than you've been alive. Kids who were hurt, kids who were scared, kids who didn't trust anybody. And they're still doing it, still opening their home, still trying to help. That doesn't mean they're good. You're right. It doesn't. But it means they keep choosing to try, even when it's hard. That counts for something. Caleb was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was barely audible. Will you still come see me if I go with them? Stone felt his throat tighten. Every day you want me to. Promise? I promise. Caleb turned back to the Mitchells. He studied them with those old soul eyes that had seen too much too young. Okay, he finally said. You can try. But if you hurt Lily, I'll bite you. Hard. I bite real hard. Sarah laughed, a warm, genuine sound that seemed to fill the church. I believe you, sweetheart, and I wouldn't have it any other way. The paperwork took hours. Thornton arrived with stacks of forms, but her expression was softer than before. Almost approving. The Mitchells are one of our best families, she told Stone quietly while the others talked. These children are lucky. They're not lucky. They've had nothing but bad luck. They're finally getting a break. Same thing in the end. Stone wasn't sure he agreed, but he let it go. The plan was set. Once Lily was discharged, probably in 2 more days, both children would go home with the Mitchells. There would be a transition period. Supervision. Assessments. The usual bureaucracy. But they'd be together. That was what mattered. Stone was about to leave when Marcus pulled him aside. You did a good thing here. I made some phone calls. You did the real work. I mean all of it. Stopping for those kids. Staying. Fighting for them. Marcus studied him. What are you going to do now? Stone hadn't thought about it. For 5 days, his entire existence had been those children, their safety, their future. Now that future was in someone else's hands. I don't know. You could stay. Copper Ridge isn't much, but it's something. Stay for what? For them. Marcus nodded toward Caleb, who was showing Sarah how to fold a paper airplane. You think this is over, that boy is bonded to you. You walk away now, it'll break something in him. He's got the Mitchells. They're strangers. You're the one who stopped. You're the one who stayed. In his mind, you're the one who saved him. Stone watched Caleb demonstrate his airplane folding technique with serious concentration. The boy looked up and caught his eye, waving. Stone waved back. I don't know how to be what he needs. Nobody does. That's the thing about children, they don't need perfect. They need present. Marcus put a hand on Stone's shoulder. You've got 2 days before they leave the hospital. Use them. Stone didn't answer, but he didn't walk away either. That night, Stone lay on the hospital couch that had become his bed, staring at the ceiling. Caleb was asleep in his usual spot by Lily's window. The machines hummed their steady rhythm. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Stone hesitated, then answered. Hello? Well, Stone Mercer. The voice was low familiar in all the worst ways. Been a long time, brother. Stone's blood turned to ice. Viper. You remembered. I'm touched. A laugh that held no humor. Thought you might have forgotten all your old friends. How did you get this number? We've got friends everywhere, Stone. You know that. It's why nobody really leaves the club. Stone sat up slowly, keeping his voice low. What do you want? Heard an interesting story. Big scary biker finds 2 kids in the desert, turns into Father of the Year overnight. Made the local news. Imagine my surprise when I recognized the face. Stone's mind raced. The news. Of course. Some reporter had gotten the story, the dramatic rescue, the hospital vigil. They'd probably used his name, maybe even his picture. I'm out, Viper. Have been for 12 years. Nobody's out, you know that. Once a brother, always a brother. Or have you forgotten the oath you swore? I remember. I also remember the order you gave me. The one that put children in harm's way. That was business. This is personal. Viper's voice dropped. You embarrassed us, Stone. Walking away like that. People talked. Said if Mercer could leave, maybe the club wasn't so tight after all. Sounds like a you problem. It is. And I'm solving it. A pause. Those kids you found. Cute story. Real heartwarming. Be a shame if something happened to them. Stone's grip tightened on the phone so hard he heard the case crack. You touch those children, I'll kill you. I'll find you wherever you are, and I'll make it last. There's the stone I remember. Viper sounded pleased. That's the fire. That's what made you useful. I'm not useful anymore. I'm done. See, that's where you're wrong. You became done when you decided to. You can become undone the same way. What do you want? A meeting. Tomorrow night. There's an old barn off Route 66 about 10 miles east of town. Be there at midnight. Come alone. And if I don't, then I pay a visit to Mercy General. I hear the pediatric wing has very light security. Stone closed his eyes. 12 years. 12 years of running, of hiding, of trying to become someone new. And it had found him anyway. I'll be there. Good boy. See you tomorrow, brother. The line went dead. Stone sat in the darkness, his mind racing. He could call Dale. He could warn the hospital. He could run, grab the kids, and disappear into the night. But he knew Viper, knew the club. They had reach. They had patience. They'd find him eventually, and anyone who got in the way would suffer. There was only one way to end this. He looked at Caleb still sleeping peacefully by the window. The boy's face was soft in sleep, all the fear and tension temporarily erased. Stone had made a promise. He'd said he wouldn't leave. But some promises required breaking others to keep. Morning came too fast. Stone hadn't slept, couldn't sleep, but he forced himself to act normal. Smile when Caleb smiled. Laugh at his jokes. Help feed Lily her bottle. Dr. Chen came by with good news: Lily could be discharged tomorrow. The Mitchells would pick both children up in the afternoon. 24 hours. That was how long Stone had to solve everything. He found Marcus in the chapel, praying. "I need your help." The pastor looked up, taking in Stone's expression. "What's wrong?" Stone told him everything. The call, the threat, the meeting. Marcus listened without interrupting. When Stone finished, his face was grave. "You can't go alone." "I have to. They'll hurt the kids if I don't." "They might hurt you if you do." "That's a risk I can take. The kids aren't." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "What exactly are you planning? I don't know yet. But I'm not going there to fight. Fighting won't end this." "Then what will—" Stone thought about it. Really thought for the first time since the call. "Viper wants me scared. Wants me to react the old way, with violence, with rage. That's how he controls people. But I'm not that person anymore." "So who are you?" Stone didn't have an answer. He'd spent 12 years trying to figure that out. "Whatever I am, I'm not running. Not this time." Marcus stood. "Then let me help. Let me come with you." "It's too dangerous." "Stone, I spent 3 years on the streets addicted to crack. I've seen dangerous. I've lived dangerous. A few bikers don't scare me." "These aren't just bikers. I know what they are. I also know what you're trying to do. You're trying to protect those children by sacrificing yourself. That's noble. It's also stupid." Stone almost laughed. "Did you just call me stupid?" "I call it like I see it." Marcus moved closer. "You're not alone anymore. You keep saying you're the only one fighting for those kids, but that's not true. I'm fighting for them too. So is Jolene. So are the Mitchells. You've built something here, Stone, whether you meant to or not. A community. A family." "I don't have a family." "You do now." Marcus put a hand on his shoulder. "And family doesn't let family face the darkness alone." Stone felt something crack inside him. A wall he'd built so long ago he'd forgotten it was there. "Okay," he heard himself say. "We do it together." The day passed like a dream. Stone spent every moment with Caleb and Lily, memorizing their faces, their laughs, the way Caleb's eyes crinkled when he smiled, the way Lily kicked her legs when she was happy. Just in case. That evening, Jolene brought dinner to the hospital. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, biscuits. A proper meal, she said, for a proper family. Stone didn't correct her. They ate together in Lily's room, Stone, Caleb, Jolene, Marcus, even Dale, who'd stopped by to check on things. For a moment it felt almost normal, almost safe. Then midnight approached, and Stone had to leave. "Where are you going?" Caleb grabbed his hand. "I have to take care of something, buddy, just for a few hours." "In the middle of the night? It's important." Caleb's eyes searched his face. "You're coming back, right?" Stone knelt down. "I'm coming back, I promise." "You promise a lot." "And I keep them all. Have I broken one yet?" Caleb thought about it. Slowly, he shook his head. Then trust me. One more time." The boy hugged him tight. Stone held on, breathing in the smell of hospital soap and little boy. "I love you," Caleb whispered. Stone's heart stopped. "What? I love you." Caleb pulled back his face, serious. "I never said that to my mom's boyfriend, but I'm saying it to you. Because you're different. Because you're real." Stone couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. "I love you too, buddy." The words came out rough, broken. "I love you too." He stood up, wiping his eyes. "Marcus, keep them safe." "With my life." Stone walked out of the hospital and into the night. Whatever came next, he was ready. The road stretched dark and empty ahead of Stone's Harley. Every mile brought him closer to a past he'd spent 12 years running from. Every mile took him further from the children who'd somehow become his reason to stop running. Caleb's voice echoed in his head. "I love you." 3 words. That's all it took to break through walls he'd built for decades. 3 words from a 6-year-old boy who'd lost everything but still found the courage to open his heart. Stone couldn't let that boy down. Couldn't let Lily down. Whatever happened tonight, he would find a way back to them. The old barn appeared in his headlight. 3 motorcycles already waited outside. Viper had brought backup. Stone cut his engine and sat in the silence. His hands were steady. His heart was calm. The old Stone would have come in hot fists, ready, rage burning. But that Stone had died in the desert 12 years ago. Tonight, a different man walked into the barn. Viper stood in the center, flanked by 2 brothers Stone didn't recognize. Younger guys, probably recruited after he'd left. They had the look, hard eyes, harder bodies, the kind of permanent tension that came from living on the edge. "You came alone." Viper sounded surprised. "Didn't think you had it in you anymore." "What do you want?" "Straight to business. I like that." Viper circled slowly. He'd aged in 12 years, more gray in his beard, more lines on his face, but the predator's eyes were the same. "I want what you took from us." "I didn't take anything. You took our reputation, our credibility. When Stone Mercer walks away and lives, it sends a message. Says the angels aren't what they used to be." Viper stopped circling. "I've spent 12 years trying to fix what you broke. That's your problem, not mine. See, that's where you're wrong." Viper smiled, that cold smile that had never reached his eyes. "It became your problem the moment you showed your face on the news playing hero with those kids." Stone felt his jaw tighten. "Leave them out of this." "Wish I could. But you made them part of it. You made yourself visible. You reminded everyone that Stone Mercer still breathes." Viper stepped closer. "So now we've got 2 options. Option 1, you come back. Full patch. Public return. We spin it as a prodigal son story. You went away, found yourself, came home. The club looks strong, forgiving, powerful. And option 2 is less pleasant." Viper's smile widened. "For everyone involved." Stone studied the 2 younger bikers. They were tense, ready for violence. They expected him to fight. Expected the old Stone, the one who'd broken a man's jaw with a single punch, who'd earned his reputation through blood and pain. "Neither option works for me," Viper laughed. "You don't get a third choice." "Yes, I do." Stone took a step forward. The 2 bikers moved to intercept, but Viper held up a hand. "I'm going to walk out of here. I'm going back to those kids, and you're going to let me." "And why would I do that?" "Because killing me doesn't solve your problem. It creates new ones." Stone kept his voice level, his posture relaxed. You kill me, you've got a murder investigation in a small town where everyone knows my face. The sheriff's already suspicious. The pastor's connected. There's a paper trail a mile long connecting me to those children. My death doesn't stay quiet. Viper's eyes narrowed. We've handled investigations before. Not like this one. This town isn't Phoenix or Tucson. It's tiny. Everyone knows everyone. A dead biker showing up after a high-profile rescue story. That's national news. That's FBI involvement. That's exactly the kind of attention you don't want. The two bikers exchanged glances. Stone saw doubt flicker across their faces. He's bluffing, one of them said. Am I? Stone turned to address them directly. You boys know who I am, what I was. You think I'd walk in here without insurance? Viper's smile faded. What kind of insurance? The kind that gets opened if I don't make a phone call by 6 a.m. Names, dates, locations, everything I know about club operations from my 24 years inside. Stone let that sink in. I never used it before because I didn't care. I wanted out. I wanted to disappear. But you're threatening children now. My children. That changes things. Those kids aren't yours. They are now. Silence stretched between them. Stone could see Viper calculating weighing options. The old president was smart. That's how he'd survived so long. He knew when to push and when to pull back. You'd really do it rat on your brothers. They stopped being my brothers the night they ordered me to murder a family. Stone's voice hardened. And you stopped having power over me the moment that boy grabbed my hand and asked me not to leave. Viper stared at him. Something shifted in his expression. Not fear exactly, but recognition. The look of a predator encountering something unexpected. Something that didn't follow the usual rules. You've changed. Took me 12 years. But yeah. The old Stone would have come in swinging. Would have died before he backed down. The old Stone didn't have anything worth living for. Viper was quiet for a long moment. The barn felt heavy with tension, with possibility, with violence, waiting to be born, or abandoned. Let him go. The words came from nowhere. Everyone turned. The older of the two bikers had spoken a man in his 40s, with a scar running down his cheek. Rex, what the hell? Viper started. I said let him go. Rex stepped forward. I've been riding with you for 15 years, Viper. Followed every order. Done things I'll answer for someday. But this... He shook his head. This is wrong. He found kids dying in the desert and he helped them. That's not betrayal, that's being human. Since when do you care about being human? Since I watched my own daughter overdose last year. Rex's voice cracked. She had a baby. My grandkid. CPS took him before I even knew he existed. I think about that boy every damn day, wondering if he's okay if someone's taking care of him. He looked at Stone. You did what I couldn't. You stopped. You helped. You stayed. Rex. No, I'm done. Rex stepped back. You want to kill him? Do it yourself. I'm out. He walked toward the barn door. The younger biker looked between Viper and Rex, confusion and fear warring on his face. Tommy! Viper's voice was ice. Don't even think about it. Tommy froze. Stone could see the war playing out on his face. Loyalty versus conscience, fear versus something deeper. I'm sorry, Viper. Tommy's voice shook. But Rex is right. This isn't what I signed up for. He followed Rex out of the barn. Motorcycle engines roared to life and faded into the night. Viper stood alone now. Just him and Stone. Looks like it's just us, Stone said quietly. Viper's hand moved toward his waistband. Stone didn't flinch. Go ahead. Pull it. End this. You'd let me, if that's what it takes to protect those kids. Yeah. I would. Viper's hand hovered. Stone watched his face. The anger, the frustration, the dawning realization that this wasn't going the way he'd planned. You really love them? It wasn't a question. I didn't know I could. Not anymore. But yeah, I do. Viper's hand dropped to his side. Get out of here, Stone. What? You heard me. Get out. Go back to your kids. Play house. Pretend you're something you're not. Viper's voice was bitter, but the threat had drained from it. Just stay gone this time. Stay invisible. If I hear your name again, if I see your face on another news story, you won't. I better not. Viper turned away. We're done here. Stone didn't wait for him to change his mind. He walked out of the barn, climbed on his Harley, and rode back toward Copper Ridge. The sun was coming up by the time he reached the hospital. Marcus was waiting in the parking lot, worry carved deep into his face. You're alive. Disappointed. Relieved. Marcus pulled him into a hug, something Stone wasn't expecting. It took him a moment to remember how to hug back. What happened? Long story, short version, it's over. They're not coming after the kids. You sure? Sure as I can be? Marcus pulled back, studying Stone's face. You look different. I feel different. They walked into the hospital together. The halls were quiet, early morning before the day shift fully took over. Their footsteps echoed on the tile. Caleb was up most of the night, Marcus said. Worried about you. Guilt twisted in Stone's gut. I shouldn't have left like that. No. But you came back. That's what matters. They reached Lily's room. Stone paused outside the door. Through the window he could see Caleb curled up in his usual chair, finally asleep. Lily was awake in her bassinet, her dark eyes tracking the movement of a mobile one of the nurses had hung. Stone's heart cracked open. This was what he'd been running toward without knowing it. This was the destination he'd never known he was seeking. He pushed open the door quietly. Caleb stirred at the sound. Stone. Hey, buddy. Caleb sat up so fast he nearly fell off the chair. You came back. I promised, didn't I? The boy launched himself across the room, wrapping his arms around Stone's waist with desperate strength. I thought you weren't coming back. I thought something happened. I know. Stone knelt down, holding Caleb tight. I know, I'm sorry, but I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere. Caleb pulled back, his face streaked with tears. Ever. The boy studied him with those old soul eyes. You're different. People keep saying that. Different good or different bad? Stone thought about it. Different free. But Caleb didn't ask what that meant. Maybe he didn't need to. Instead, he took Stone's hand and led him to Lily's bassinet. She was asking for you. She can't talk yet, buddy. Not with words, but she was looking at the door all night, waiting. Caleb touched his sister's tiny hand. See, she knows you're here now. Stone looked down at Lily, the baby girl who'd almost died in his arms just days ago. She was stronger now, pink cheeks, bright eyes, the beginning of personality showing through. She smiled at him. Stone felt tears burn his eyes. He didn't fight them. Hey, princess. I'm back, and I'm not leaving. Not you, not your brother, not ever. Lily cooed and kicked her legs. See, Caleb grinned. She understands. The Mitchells arrived at noon. Tom and Sarah came bearing gifts, a stuffed bunny for Lily, a toy truck for Caleb. Small things, but thoughtful. The kind of gestures that showed they were paying attention. Caleb accepted the truck with cautious politeness. He examined it carefully, turning it over in his hands. It has real doors that open. You like trucks? Tom asked. I like things that move, things that can go somewhere. Caleb looked up. Can I bring it with me when we go to your house? Sarah's eyes glistened. Of course, sweetheart. It's yours. The discharge paperwork took hours. Thornton showed up with more forms, but her demeanor had softened considerably. She even smiled when Caleb showed her his new truck. You've done good work here, she told Stone quietly while the others were distracted. Those children are lucky to have you in their corner. They're not lucky. They're fighters. Takes one to know one. She extended her hand. I was wrong about you, Mr. Mercer. I hope you'll accept my apology. Stone shook her hand. Call me Stone. Finally, the moment came. Time to leave. Caleb stood between Stone and the Mitchells, looking back and forth with uncertainty. I don't know how to do this. Sarah knelt down. Do what, sweetheart? Say goodbye. His voice cracked. I'm not good at goodbye. Stone's chest tightened. He crouched down to Caleb's level. This isn't goodbye, buddy. Remember what I promised I'll visit every day. You can call me whenever you want. I'm not disappearing. But it won't be the same. You won't be there when I wake up. You won't be there at night. No, I won't. Stone wouldn't lie to him. But I'll be there for the important stuff. And the Mitchells, they're going to take good care of you. They want to. They chose to. Why do people choose us? Stone looked at Tom and Sarah. They were watching tears on Sarah's cheeks. Something fierce and protective in Tom's eyes. Because you're worth choosing Caleb. You and Lily both. You're the best kids I've ever known, and anyone would be lucky to have you in their family. Caleb threw his arms around Stone's neck. I don't want to go. I know. I want to stay with you. I know. Can't you keep us? Can't we be your family? The words hit Stone like a physical blow. He held Caleb tighter, fighting to keep his composure. It's complicated, buddy. There are rules, laws. I'm not approved for that. Then get approved. Stone pulled back to look at him. What? Get approved. Do the classes. Fill out the papers. Whatever you have to do. Caleb's eyes burned with fierce determination. I'll wait. Lily will wait. The Mitchells can be our temporary family until you're ready to be our real one. Stone looked at the Mitchells. Tom nodded slowly. He's got a point, Tom said. The system allows for that. If you're interested, if you're willing to do the work, we'd support you, Sarah added. We'd help. We're not trying to replace anyone. We just want what's best for these children. Stone's mind reeled. I have a criminal record, a violent past. No judge would... That's not necessarily true, Marcus said from behind him. I've seen people with worse backgrounds become foster parents. It takes time, effort, references, but it's not impossible. And you'd have plenty of references. Jolene had appeared in the doorway. The whole town's talking about what you did. Sheriff Hartley's practically singing your praises. Stone looked around at the faces surrounding him. Marcus, Jolene, Tom and Sarah. Even Thornton was nodding slowly. This isn't a joke. Does it look like anyone's laughing? Jolene crossed her arms. Face it, Stone. You've got a community now, whether you wanted one or not. Stone turned back to Caleb. The boy was watching him with those eyes, those old soul eyes that had seen too much, but still dared to hope. You'd really wait for me. I've waited my whole life for someone like you. Caleb's voice was steady. What's a little more time? Stone felt something break open inside him. The last wall, the final defense, everything he'd built to protect himself from feeling, from caring, from loving, it all crumbled away. Okay. Caleb's eyes widened. Okay. Okay, I'll do it. The classes, the papers, all of it. Stone's voice shook. I'll become whoever I need to be to deserve you. Caleb's face split into the biggest smile Stone had ever seen. "You already deserve us. You just need everyone else to see it." The weeks that followed moved fast. Stone found a small house to rent on the edge of town. Nothing fancy, but clean and solid. Jolene gave him a job at the diner, cooking and cleaning. Marcus helped him navigate the foster care requirements. Every day, Stone visited the Mitchells' home. Every day, he spent hours with Caleb and Lily building the bonds that the system would eventually evaluate. The changes came gradually, but steadily. He learned to change diapers without flinching. Learned to make Caleb's favorite breakfast pancakes shaped like motorcycles. Learned to read bedtime stories with different voices for each character. He attended parenting classes 3 nights a week. Sat in circles with young couples who stared at his tattoos and wondered what his story was. He answered their questions honestly, without shame. Yes, he was former Hell's Angels. Yes, he'd done terrible things. Yes, he was trying to be different. The honesty surprised people. Most expected him to hide, to deflect. When he didn't, their curiosity transformed into something like respect. Dale Hartley became an unexpected ally. The sheriff still didn't fully trust Stone, probably never would, but he'd seen enough to know the man had changed. "You really going through with this?" Dale asked one evening at the diner. "The adoption thing. If they'll let me." "It's a lot of work, a lot of scrutiny. They'll dig into every part of your past." "Let them dig. I've got nothing to hide." "Not anymore." Dale studied him. "What changed you?" Stone thought about it. "A boy asked me not to leave. Nobody had ever asked me that before." Dale nodded slowly. "He's a special kid." "They both are." 3 months in, Stone had his first home visit. A social worker named Patricia came to inspect his house, interview him, assess his readiness. Caleb insisted on being there, even though it wasn't required. He sat next to Stone on the couch, holding his hand. "Why do you want to foster these children, Mr. Mercer?" Patricia asked. Stone looked at Caleb. The boy squeezed his hand. "Because they found me when I was lost. Because they taught me what family means. Because that little boy—" His voice cracked. "That little boy showed me what courage really looks like, and I want to spend the rest of my life trying to deserve him." Patricia wrote something on her clipboard. Her expression was neutral professional. Caleb leaned forward. "Can I say something?" Patricia smiled. "Of course, sweetheart." "He's not perfect. He doesn't know how to cook very good, and sometimes he forgets to buy the right kind of milk. But he never breaks his promises. He always comes when I call. He makes me feel safe." Caleb's voice strengthened. "I've known a lot of adults who said they'd take care of me. None of them stayed. He stayed. That's all that matters." Patricia's pen stopped moving. She looked at Caleb, then at Stone, then back at Caleb. "That's a very compelling statement." "It's the truth." Stone pulled Caleb closer. "Thanks, buddy." "I meant every word." The home visit went well. So did the next one. And the next. Stone's background check came back with flags, expected ones, but his references were overwhelming. Marcus, Jolene, Dale, Dr. Chen. Even Thornton submitted a letter of support. "I've rarely seen a more committed candidate," she wrote. "His past is concerning, but his present is remarkable. These children have already chosen him. The system should honor that choice." 6 months after Stone found Caleb and Lily on that desert highway, a court date was set. The adoption hearing. Stone stood in front of the mirror trying to tie a tie. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Let me. Caleb reached up and took the fabric. He'd watched YouTube videos practiced on his stuffed animals. His small fingers worked with confident precision. Where'd you learn to do that? YouTube. There's a video for everything. Stone watched his reflection, the former biker in a borrowed suit getting his tie fixed by a 7-year-old boy. You nervous? Caleb asked. Terrified. Good, me too. The boy finished the knot and stepped back to admire his work. But we're gonna do it anyway. That's what brave is, right? Being scared, but doing it anyway. You remembered. I remember everything you tell me. The courtroom was full. Marcus sat in the front row with Jolene. Dale was there in full uniform. The Mitchells had come to support them. Even some regulars from the diner showed up, people who'd watched Stone transform over 6 months, who'd seen him become someone new. Caleb held Stone's hand as they walked to the front. Lily was in Stone's other arm, wearing a tiny pink dress Sarah had bought for the occasion. Judge Rebecca Martinez presided. 50s sharp eyes, reputation for fairness. We're here today to consider the petition for adoption filed by Gray Stone Mercer for the minor children Caleb James Walker and Lily Rose Walker. She looked at Stone. Mr. Mercer, do you understand what you're asking this court to grant? Yes, Your Honor. You're asking to become the legal father of these children, to be responsible for their care, their education, their well-being, for the rest of their lives. I understand. Judge Martinez leaned forward. Tell me why. Stone had prepared a statement, practiced it, memorized it. He threw it away. 6 months ago, I was nobody. A ghost riding highways running from a past I couldn't change. I'd given up on being anything good. Given up on deserving anything good. He paused. Then I heard a child crying. Caleb squeezed his hand. This boy had walked through the desert for 2 days carrying his baby sister after watching his mother die. He could have given up. He could have left her. But he didn't. He kept going. He kept fighting. Stone's voice shook. He was 6 years old, and braver than I'd ever been in my life. Judge Martinez listened, her expression unreadable. I stopped because I heard crying. I stayed because I couldn't walk away. And somewhere along the way I realized that these children weren't just people I was helping. They were my family. Stone looked at Caleb, then at Lily. They saved me, Your Honor. I know that's supposed to work the other way around. But they saved me. And I want to spend every day for the rest of my life being worthy of that salvation. The courtroom was silent. Judge Martinez looked at Caleb. Young man, do you have anything you'd like to say? Caleb stood up straighter. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. My mom used to say that angels don't always have wings. Sometimes they have tattoos and motorcycles and scary faces, but they're still angels. Caleb's voice carried clear and strong. Stone is my angel. He came when nobody else would. He stayed when everyone else left. He promised he wouldn't go, and he didn't. The boy paused. I don't need him to be perfect. I just need him to be there. And he always is. Judge Martinez was quiet for a long moment. The court has reviewed the extensive documentation in this case. Mr. Mercer's criminal history, his background with the Hells Angels, his rehabilitation efforts, his community references. She paused. The court has also reviewed the testimony of social workers, mental health professionals, and the foster family who cared for these children during the transition period. Every single report speaks to one thing: transformation. Stone held his breath. Mr. Mercer, you came into this process as a man with every strike against him. You're leaving it as a father. Judge Martinez smiled, the first crack in her professional facade. The petition for adoption is granted. Caleb James Walker and Lily Rose Walker are hereby declared the legal children of Gray Mercer with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. The gavel came down. Caleb screamed with joy and threw himself into Stone's arms. Lily, startled by the noise, began to cry, and Stone found himself laughing and crying, at the same time holding his children, while the courtroom erupted in applause. Marcus was crying. Jolene was crying. Even Dale was wiping his eyes and pretending it was allergies. "We did it," Caleb whispered. "We're a family." Stone held him tighter. "We always were, buddy. Now it's just official." The gavel's echo still rang in Stone's ears 3 days later. Every morning he woke up and had to remind himself it was real. He was a father now. Legally, officially, forever. Caleb slept in the room next to his, a room they'd decorated together with posters of motorcycles and dinosaurs, an odd combination that somehow made perfect sense. Lily's crib sat at the foot of Stone's bed, because Caleb insisted she needed to be close to both of them at night. "In case she has bad dreams," he'd explained. "She can't tell us about them, so we have to be there when she wakes up." The logic was pure Caleb. Stone didn't argue. Their first morning as an official family started with burned pancakes. "They're supposed to be shaped like motorcycles," Caleb said, poking at the blackened lumps on his plate. "They're abstract motorcycles." "They're burnt motorcycles." "Same thing." Caleb giggled, that pure, unguarded sound that Stone had come to treasure. 6 months ago, this boy couldn't laugh, couldn't trust, couldn't let down his guard for a single moment. Now he was teasing his father about pancakes. "Can we go see Jolene today?" Caleb asked. "She makes better pancakes." "Traitor. I'm just being honest. You told me to always be honest." Stone grabbed him and tickled him until he shrieked. Lily, watching from her high chair, kicked her legs and squealed with delight. This was what he'd been missing his whole life. This simple, ordinary, extraordinary joy. The phone rang. Stone checked the caller ID and frowned. Unknown number. He answered carefully. "Hello. Mr. Mercer, this is Detective Sarah Huang with the Phoenix Police Department." Stone's blood cooled. "What's this about?" "We've located the body of a woman in the desert. Based on identification found at the scene, we believe it may be the mother of your adopted children. We need someone to confirm the identification and answer some questions about the circumstances." Stone looked at Caleb, who was watching him with sudden wariness. The boy could read him too well now. "When? As soon as possible. We can send someone to escort you, or you can come to our office in Phoenix." "I'll come to you. Give me the address." He wrote it down, his hand steady even as his mind raced. They'd known Caleb's mother was dead, had known since the beginning, but having it officially confirmed, having to see it, having to explain it to a 7-year-old who'd just started healing. "What's wrong?" Caleb's voice was small. Stone hung up and crouched down to his level. "Remember how we talked about your mom, about what happened to her?" Caleb's face went pale. "Yeah. The police found her. They need me to go talk to them, to make sure she's taken care of properly." "You mean buried?" "Yeah, buddy, buried." Caleb was quiet for a long moment. His eyes went distant the way they did when he was processing something too big for words. "Can I come?" Stone hesitated. "It might be hard, buddy. There might be things. She's my mom." Caleb's voice cracked. "I want to say goodbye. Please." Stone's heart broke for the 1,000th time. "Okay, we'll go together." He called Jolene to watch Lily. She arrived within 20 minutes, taking one look at Stone's face and asking no questions. Take your time, she said, squeezing his arm. We'll be here when you get back. The drive to Phoenix took 3 hours. Caleb sat in the passenger seat, clutching his stuffed rabbit, the one Lily used to hold the one he'd carried through the desert. Stone, yeah, buddy, what's gonna happen after we see her? We'll arrange a funeral, give her a proper goodbye, make sure she's at peace. Will it hurt seeing her? Stone thought about it carefully. Probably. Some things hurt no matter how much we prepare. Will you be there when I see her? Right beside you, the whole time. Caleb nodded and clutched the rabbit tighter. They drove the rest of the way in silence. Detective Huang met them at the precinct, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s who softened visibly when she saw Caleb. You must be the brave young man I've heard about. Caleb pressed closer to Stone. I'm not brave. The reports say otherwise. She crouched down to his level. I know this is scary, but you don't have to do anything you're not ready for. Okay. Caleb looked at Stone. I want to see her. Are you sure? I need to say goodbye. Detective Huang led them to a small, quiet room. Soft lighting. 2 chairs facing a window covered by a curtain. When you're ready, she said. Take all the time you need. Stone sat in one chair. Caleb climbed into his lap without asking, a habit they'd developed over 6 months of learning to be family. You can hold my hand, Stone said. Caleb's small fingers wrapped around his. Okay, I'm ready. Stone nodded at the detective. She pressed a button, and the curtain slowly drew back. Behind the glass lay a woman. Mid-30s, dark hair, the same delicate features Stone recognized in Lily. She looked peaceful, more peaceful than she'd probably been in years. Caleb made a small sound. Not a cry, not a word. Just a sound, the noise of a heart breaking. Hi, Mom. His voice shook. It's me. It's Caleb. Stone held him tighter. I found help. Just like you said. I kept Lily safe. She's okay now. She's really okay. Tears streamed down his face. I'm sorry I couldn't wake you up. I tried so hard. I shook you and yelled and even hit you, and I'm sorry I hit you, buddy. But you wouldn't wake up and I didn't know what to do and I was so scared. The words tumbled out now, months of grief finally finding release. I wanted you to see me be brave. I wanted you to know I did everything you asked. I protected her. I protected Lily. I did it, Mom. I did it. Stone felt tears on his own cheeks. He didn't wipe them away. Caleb pressed his hand against the glass. I found someone. Someone good. Someone. His name is Stone, and he takes care of us now. He's not like Marcus. He doesn't hurt. He doesn't yell. He makes funny pancakes and reads stories at night, and he never breaks his promises. The boy's voice steadied. You don't have to worry about us anymore. We're safe. We're finally safe. The room was silent except for Caleb's ragged breathing. I love you, Mom. I'll always love you. And I'll make sure Lily knows about you. I'll tell her stories. I'll show her your picture. He paused. Say hi to my real daddy for me. Tell him I'm okay. Tell him I found my angel. Stone couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. He just held his son as the boy said goodbye to the woman who'd given him life, but couldn't give him safety. Can we go now? Caleb whispered. Yeah, buddy. We can go. They walked out of the precinct, hand in hand. Detective Huang stopped them at the door. Mr. Mercer. We found something else at the scene. The mother had a letter in her pocket. It's addressed to whoever might find the children. She handed Stone an envelope, weathered and worn, but still sealed. We made a copy for the file. This one's for you. Stone took it carefully. Thank you. Take care of those kids. With my life. They sat in the car for a long time before Stone opened the envelope. Caleb watched with wide eyes. "What does it say?" Stone unfolded the letter. The handwriting was shaky, written by someone running out of time. "My name is Amanda Walker. If you're reading this, I'm gone, and my children are alone. Please, whoever you are, please don't separate them. Caleb will try to protect Lily no matter what. He's been protecting her his whole life. It's all he knows. But he's just a child. He deserves to be taken care of too." Stone's voice cracked. He cleared his throat and continued. "Caleb is the strongest person I've ever known. He's been through things no child should face, and he's never stopped fighting. Lily is pure joy. The one good thing that came from a terrible situation. Please love them. Please keep them together. Please give them the life I couldn't provide." Caleb was crying silently. Stone reached over and took his hand. "If I could ask one more thing, tell Caleb I'm sorry. Sorry I wasn't stronger. Sorry I couldn't beat the demons that chased me. Sorry I'm leaving him with this burden. He'll blame himself. He always does. Please tell him it's not his fault. None of it was ever his fault." Stone had to stop. His chest hurt too much to continue. "Is there more?" Caleb whispered. Stone nodded and forced himself to finish. "Thank you, stranger, for stopping. Thank you for reading this. Thank you for caring about my babies when I no longer can. You're the answer to a prayer I didn't know how to say. Love them for me. Please. Love them forever. Amanda." The car fell silent. Caleb stared at the letter in Stone's hands. Then he reached out and touched it gently like it was something holy. She knew. Knew what? That someone would come. That you would come. Caleb looked up at him. "She wrote this for you." Stone folded the letter carefully and placed it in his jacket pocket over his heart. "I'll love you forever, buddy. Her and me both. That's a promise." Caleb crawled across the seat and into Stone's arms. They held each other until the sun set. The funeral was small. Marcus performed the service. Jolene arranged the flowers. Dale made sure no one disturbed them. The Mitchells came to pay respects. Even Thornton showed up, standing quietly in the back. Caleb insisted on speaking. "My mom wasn't perfect." His voice carried clear across the small gathering. "She made mistakes. She got hurt. She got lost. But she loved us. She loved us so much that she ran away from everything she knew to keep us safe. That's the only thing I want people to remember. She loved us." He placed a single flower on the casket. "Goodbye, Mom. Thank you for giving me to Stone. Thank you for trusting him. I'll make you proud, I promise." After the service, Stone took both children to visit the grave. Lily was too young to understand, but Caleb wanted her there anyway. "So she knows where to find Mom," he explained, "when she's old enough to visit on her own." That night, Stone sat on the porch of their small house watching the stars appear one by one. Caleb came out and sat beside him. "You okay, buddy?" "I think so. Is that weird? That I'm okay?" "No, it's healthy. It means you're healing." Caleb was quiet for a moment. "Can I tell you something? Always. I used to be so angry. At Mom, at Marcus, at everyone who hurt us or didn't help or just drove by without stopping." He paused. "I'm not angry anymore." "What changed? You." Caleb looked at him. "You showed me that good people exist. That someone would stop. That love doesn't always hurt." He smiled a real smile without shadows. "I don't need to be angry anymore because I'm not scared anymore. You made me not scared." Stone pulled him close. "You made me not scared too, buddy. You were scared. Terrified. For 12 years. Scared of who I was, what I'd done, what I couldn't undo. Stone looked up at the stars. Then a 6-year-old boy asked me not to leave, and everything changed. They sat together in comfortable silence, father and son watching the night sky. The months that followed brought changes Stone never expected. Caleb started school, really started with friends and homework and normal kid problems. His teachers reported remarkable progress. The trauma was still there, still needed addressing, but he was healing. Lily took her first steps on a Tuesday morning in October. Stone and Caleb were eating breakfast when she pulled herself up using the coffee table, looked at them with determination, and toddled 3 steps forward before falling into Stone's arms. "Daddy!" she shrieked. Stone froze. Caleb's jaw dropped. "Did she just— Daddy!" Lily repeated, patting Stone's face with her tiny hands. Stone's eyes filled with tears. "Yeah, Princess, that's me. Daddy." Caleb whooped and ran around the kitchen. "She said it. She said, Daddy, I told you she would. I told you." Stone held Lily close, feeling her small heart beat against his chest. This child who'd almost died in his arms. This child who'd fought back from the edge of death. She was calling him Daddy. The word settled into his heart and made a home there. "Say it again, Princess." Lily grinned and kicked her legs. "Dada, dada, dada." Stone laughed through his tears. "That's right. Dada's here. Dada's never leaving." Christmas arrived with snow. Caleb had never seen snow before. He stood at the window for an hour watching it fall, his face pressed against the glass. "Can we play in it? After breakfast? Can we build a snowman? A whole snow family if you want. Can we— Caleb." Stone's voice was firm but warm. "Breakfast first. Adventure after." The boy grinned and ran to the table. They decorated the house together, Caleb insisting on placing every ornament himself, while Lily supervised from her playpen. Stone had never decorated for Christmas before, had never seen the point. Now he understood. The tree wasn't about the ornaments or the lights or the presents underneath. It was about the laughter as Caleb struggled to reach the top branches, the way Lily clapped every time something shiny caught her eye, the feeling of family that filled every corner of their small home. On Christmas Eve, Marcus came by with Jolene. The Mitchells brought pie. Dale showed up with presents for the kids, claiming they were from the Sheriff's Department Holiday Fund, even though everyone knew he'd bought them himself. Stone looked around his crowded living room at the people who'd become family, at the children who'd saved him, at the life he never dreamed he could have. Marcus caught his eye and raised a glass. "You did it, Stone. You found your way home." Stone raised his glass in return. "I found something better. I found a family." That night, after everyone left and the children were in bed, Stone sat in front of the tree. The lights blinked softly. The house was quiet. A small figure appeared in the doorway. "Can't sleep?" Stone asked. Caleb shook his head and padded over, climbing into Stone's lap. He was getting big for this, but neither of them cared. "I keep thinking about last Christmas." "What about it?" "We didn't have a tree. Mom was too sick. Marcus was angry about something. He was always angry about something. Lily cried all night because she was hungry." Caleb's voice was soft. "I didn't think Christmas could ever be good." Stone held him tighter. "What do you think now?" Caleb was quiet for a moment. Then he looked up with those old soul eyes that somehow got a little younger every day. "I think maybe you can have bad Christmases and good Christmases, and the bad ones don't mean the good ones won't come. You just have to wait and hope and keep going." He paused. That's what you taught me. I taught you that you teach me lots of things. You just don't know you're doing it. Stone pressed a kiss to the top of Caleb's head. You know what you taught me. What? That it's never too late. That people can change. That love is worth the risk even when it's scary. Stone's voice thickened. You taught me that a Hell's Angel could become a father. That a man who spent his whole life destroying could learn to build. That someone with blood on his hands could still hold something precious. Caleb snuggled closer. You're a good dad. I'm trying to be. No. The boy's voice was firm. You are. You don't have to try. You just are. They fell asleep together on the couch, the Christmas lights blinking around them, snow falling softly outside. Stone dreamed of desert highways and crying children, and a moment when everything changed. He dreamed of stopping. Spring brought the 1-year anniversary. 1 year since Stone had heard crying on a desert road. 1 year since a desperate child begged him not to leave. 1 year since his life changed forever. They celebrated with a trip back to that highway. Are you sure? Marcus had asked when Stone told him the plan. That's a lot for a 7-year-old to process. He asked for it, said he wanted to see where it all began. They drove out together. Stone Caleb and Lily now walking confidently on her own 2 feet. The desert was beautiful in spring wildflowers blooming across the landscape. Stone pulled over at the spot. He remembered it exactly. Some places carved themselves into your memory forever. Caleb got out of the car slowly. He looked around his face, thoughtful. It looks different. How so? I remember it being scary, dangerous, like the whole world was trying to kill us. He looked at Stone. Now it's just a road. That's because you're different now. You're not running anymore. Caleb walked to the spot where he'd stood that day, Lily in his arms crying for help that wouldn't come. He stood there for a long moment. This is where you found me. Yeah, this is where everything changed. For both of us. Caleb turned to face him. His eyes were dry, his voice steady. Thank you for stopping. Stone felt his chest tighten. Thank you for asking me to stay. Lily toddled over and grabbed Caleb's hand, then reached for Stone's with her other hand. They stood there, the 3 of them connected. Can we say something? Caleb asked. Like a prayer, or a memory, or something, whatever you want. Caleb thought for a moment. Then he spoke, his voice clear and strong. 1 year ago, I was the most scared I've ever been. I thought nobody would help us. I thought we were going to die. Then you came. He looked at Stone. You changed everything. You gave us a home, a family, a future. I don't know why you stopped that day. I don't know what made you different from all the other people who drove by. But I'm glad you did. I'm so glad you did. Stone knelt down to their level. You want to know why I stopped? Both children looked at him. I spent 12 years running from who I was, hating myself for what I'd done, believing I didn't deserve anything good. He paused. Then I heard you crying, and something inside me, something I thought was dead, woke up. It said, stop, just this once, stop. Be the person you wish you were instead of the person you've been. He touched Caleb's face. You saved me, buddy. You and your sister. I thought I was rescuing you, but you rescued me. Caleb threw his arms around Stone's neck. Lily joined in, creating a tangle of small limbs and big love. We saved each other, Caleb whispered. Yeah. Stone's voice broke. We did. They stayed at that spot for another hour, watching the desert bloom, watching the place where their lives had collided and fused into something new. Then they drove home. The house was full when they arrived. Marcus and Jolene had set up a surprise party 1 year since the adoption was finalized. Balloons and streamers and a cake shaped like a motorcycle that made Caleb laugh until he couldn't breathe. "You knew?" Stone asked Jolene. "Of course I knew. Someone had to make sure you didn't spend the anniversary being all serious and emotional." "I'm never serious and emotional." "Please, you cried at Caleb's school play. It was about vegetables." The carrot had a really compelling monologue. Dale showed up with a present, a framed photo someone had taken at the adoption hearing. Stone holding Lily Caleb pressed against his side, all three of them laughing through tears. "For your wall," Dale said. "Every family needs a picture where everyone looks ridiculous." Stone hung it next to the front door, the first thing anyone would see when they walked in, the face of their family. As the party wound down and guests drifted away, Stone found himself on the porch again. His spot. His thinking place. Caleb appeared as he always did. "Good party." "The best. Better than last year." Stone thought about last year, about hospital rooms and custody battles and midnight confrontations with old ghosts. "Yeah, buddy, much better." Caleb sat down beside him. Lily was asleep inside, exhausted from the excitement. "Stone, can I ask you something? Always. Do you ever think about what would have happened if you hadn't stopped?" Stone had thought about it. In the dark hours of the night, in the quiet moments between chaos, he'd thought about it constantly. Sometimes. "What do you think would have happened to us?" "I don't know. Something bad, probably." "And what would have happened to you?" Stone was quiet for a long moment. "Something worse. I would have kept running, kept hiding, kept being nobody." He looked at Caleb. "You know what I've figured out this year?" "What?" "I spent my whole life thinking I was looking for something. Freedom, purpose, meaning something. Turns out I wasn't looking for something." He paused. "I was looking for someone. Two someones. You and Lily." Caleb's smile could have lit up the desert night. "That's cheesy." "It's true." "Cheesy and true aren't opposite." Stone laughed and ruffled his hair. "When did you get so smart?" "I've always been smart. You just weren't paying attention." They sat together as the stars came out, the same stars that had witnessed a desperate child on a desert road, the same stars that had watched a broken man finally stop running. "Hey, Stone. Yeah, I'm glad you're my dad." Stone felt his heart swell until he thought it might burst. "I'm glad you're my son." Caleb leaned against him. "We're gonna be okay, aren't we? Forever." Stone put his arm around the boy who'd changed everything. The boy who'd been brave when bravery seemed impossible. The boy who'd taught him what love really meant. "Yeah, buddy, we're gonna be okay. Forever." Inside, Lily slept peacefully. Outside, the desert stretched endless and quiet. And on the porch of a small house in Copper Ridge, Arizona, a father and son watched the night sky together. 2 years ago, Stone Mercer had been a ghost. A shadow of a man riding highways that led nowhere, running from a past he couldn't escape. Then a child cried out in the darkness, "Please don't leave me!" And the Hell's Angel got off his bike. That single choice, that one moment of stopping instead of riding by, had created ripples that transformed everything. A broken man found purpose. 2 orphaned children found safety. A community came together. Love conquered fear. Stone thought about all the people who'd driven past Caleb that day. All the cars that saw a struggling child and kept going. He understood them, in a way. It was easier not to stop. Safer. Less complicated. But easy had never built a family. Safe had never healed a broken heart. And complicated was just another word for worth it. You know what, buddy? What? I used to think my life ended the night I walked away from the club. Turns out it was just beginning. Stone pulled Caleb closer. I just had to find the right road. Caleb smiled up at him. And the right people. And the right people. The stars burned bright overhead. Somewhere out there, Amanda Walker rested in peace, knowing her children were safe. Somewhere out there, the road still stretched endless and empty, waiting for the next lost soul to find their way. But Stone wasn't lost anymore. He was home, and that made all the difference.